Hi, I'm Jane King, and this is New to the Street, in person back here at the NASDAQ market site in New York City. This show is all about public, private blockchain companies, the CEOs, the founders, and the innovators, bringing you lots of opportunities to consider. Here we go. CDL 1000 is a technology-driven supply chain solution, and that could help get goods to where they need to be in a more efficient and cost-effective way. And with me is Doug Anderson, an advisor to the company, and also Andrew Sobko, the CEO. Welcome, both of you. And Andrew, let's just start and give me an overview of CDL 1000.
Sure. So CDL 1000 is a logistics technology firm. So we initially started with kind of trying to digitalize the whole kind of space. And our key mission was we were focusing on the business called drayage, which stands for moving containers out of the ports.
Okay.
And over time, we expanded into different service offerings like truckload business. But in a simple way, we build a brand where we kind of like sell shipments in bulk, and we call it batches. And our kind of batch platform stands for, we sell, let's say, from 50 loads at the time as one transaction, or 100 shipments at the time as one transaction.
Yeah.
That's a high-level overview.
Doug, this is an area that seems to me is clearly in need of disruption.
Well,
do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, the timing of this particular deal, of course, is brilliant because we've all experienced what's happening with supply chain these days. And sometimes the most dynamic, the fastest growing companies, I mean, they're number 3 on the Inc. 5000 list, and they're the fastest growing number 1 in shipping and ports. Sometimes the simplest solutions are simple, and so what they've done is they've cut out the middleman so that the ports and shipping are more efficient and more cost effective. And consumers, especially shipping companies, or companies that need things shipped, are responding to that big time because they're realizing, hey, these guys are faster, more efficient, cheaper than anybody else, and so they're flooding into there right now. I think they're on track to probably take about 10% of the shipping market in the U.S., which is very substantial.
Yeah.
And they're an amazing company.
Andrew, how could an investor find out more about it? Is it, do you have shares that you purchase in private placement or anything like that?
So we're a private company, and as of today, we don't have any outside capital.
Okay.
Of course, we do have tremendous inbound interest in the company, so we're trying to actually decide and potentially partner up with the right strategic partner. But at this moment, we don't have any outside capital in the company.
Okay. And then just finally, explain your goals. Where do you plan to go from here?
So our overall goal kind of to simplify this kind of like and disrupt the whole supply chain industry. And we started with drayage, which is the biggest complicated, the most complicated piece of it, supply chain. And what we're working on with fully digitalizing the space. We started with full transparency. We have full transparent pricing where, let's say, clients can book hundreds of trucks digitally in seconds through the website and then deliver full transparency real-time tracking platform. We're big in using full AI and quantum computing for pricing. That's tremendously helpful to our firm, and our employees. So our goal is to capture 10% market share in drayage in the next 3 years, and continue expanding our batch platform, where we sell shipments to mid-size and larger trucking companies in bulk. We call it it's called batches.
Andrew, explain drayage. What is that exactly? So
the whole logjam in the ports that you heard in the news for the past 3 years, it starts with drayage. And drayage means moving containers out of the ports and rail yards. And there's massive kind of shortage of chassis, drivers, so it all kind of plays into it. So we were able to build successful infrastructure out of the biggest ports and rail yards in the country. So we're able to execute successfully to pull those containers out of the ports. We also successfully saved on, it's called demurrage, which is late fees to the port. So we saved most of our clients at least 20 to 40% on demurrage fees, which we're talking about tens of millions of dollars spent on a monthly basis by the biggest Fortune 500 companies.
Wow, and in an inflationary environment, that is really important.
Absolutely.
Doug, go ahead.
And it's usually being passed on to consumers.
Right.
So that's how we're saving money for the consumers at the end of the day.
And Doug, explain a little bit of the growth expansion strategies that you're seeing.
So, as mentioned, I mean, there are cost savings to the customer and consumer. It's not, nudging the needle. It's really moving the needle. I mean, no one's seen this kind of cost savings in this sector, this massive number in forever. And so with that, they have the advantage in growth of not only organic, numbers, but also they have the strength to do acquisitions, which they're very active in. They're acquiring other companies that don't benefit from their software that can see that kind of growth, and so they're joining the train. And so this company is very dynamic, it's growing fast, and it's attracting a lot of interest from investors and from strategics as well.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Out of control inflation, escalating government debt, gas and energy bills burning through your savings, and a spiraling war in Europe. The world feels like a very uncertain place right now, and it's harder and harder to take control of your money and safeguard your savings. I mean, why would anyone want to keep their money in a bank that's only going to lend it out for its own profit? Putting your savings at risk, and for what? A pittance in interest? Well, let me tell you about Glint and how they can help you to save in real gold you can spend like dollars. Now, first off, Glint's not a bank or crypto or some new type of credit card. What Glint provides is the ability and freedom to buy, save, and spend real allocated gold that's secured in Brink's vaults and insured by Lloyd's of London. Glint's Smart app and MasterCard is leading the payments revolution, putting you in control of your money by making real gold, trusted for thousands of years, into an instant, secure digital currency for the modern world. Best of all, your gold is always your gold. It's no one else's liability. It's secure and allocated to you. It never goes away, even in a crash. To learn more, go to glintpay.com or download Glint from your favorite app store. It's time to take control of your money and protect it with the time-tested security of gold and the modern digital convenience of Glint. Gold is security. Glint, it's key.
SOPA, or Society Pass, has been growing by leaps and bounds lately, particularly in Southeast Asia, where it's headquartered. And with me is Dennis Nguyen, the CEO, to explain all these acquisitions you've been doing. I've been talking to some of your executives, and it's really super exciting. So I guess give me an overview of how you're growing, and then let's go into some of the particular companies you've bought recently.
Yeah, so Society Pass is building the next generation digital ecosystem in Southeast Asia. And what does that really mean? What it really means is that we are basically acquiring different companies to form our ecosystem. And these different companies, of course, are in different verticals. Lifestyle, telecoms, digital advertising, travel, so on and so forth. We link them all together with the circulation of our loyalty points we call society points. And so that's what the next generation digital ecosystem is all about.
Yeah, so what do you look for when you're looking at one of these acquisitions?
We look for a number of things. Visionary entrepreneurs. They have to have, the founders of the companies have to be first rate in their particular field. We look for companies that are fast growing. They generally have 3-4 years of track record and growing at 50, 60, 70% a year. And then finally, of course, they have to be operating in the 5 markets that we operate in.
Okay.
Singapore, Vietnam, Indonesia, Philippines, and of course Thailand.
In Thailand, okay. And kind of explain some of these acquisitions and how they're enhancing Society Pass.
So, since we started, we now have onboarded over 3.3 million registered users, as well as over 200,000 registered merchants. And of course, the onboarding has been very much through acquisitions. So, for example, Nucitrip, our latest acquisition, it's one of the larger online travel agents. It's the Priceline.com of Southeast Asia. Brought in 1.2 million registered users onto the platform. And so, as we're trying to grow the ecosystem, and the KPIs are always 3 things: revenues, registered users, registered merchants. As we build out in the 6 verticals that we're in, we hopefully go from current 3.3 million to 10 million and 20 million and so on and so forth. As we do that, as the ecosystem gets bigger and bigger, then of course the loyalty points that are being circulated become more and more valuable.
So explain in Southeast Asia. So my understanding is very young, very digitally connected population, growing economically. I know Singapore is just on fire from what I hear. So talk about that region and how that's advantageous for you to do business.
So Southeast Asia, a region of 650 million people, okay, twice the size of the United States. Growing at almost every single country this year will grow somewhere between 4% to 7.5% average GDP growth.
Okay.
The median age of the 5 countries that we're in will range somewhere between 24 to 32. You contrast that with the United States here, 41 years of median age. You contrast that with China, 42 years. You contrast that with Japan, 52 years. So this is a relatively very young population. And by the way, 82% of the population today has smartphones.
Yeah.
And so with the smartphones, you do the e-commerce, you do this, you do that. And so that all those macro elements come together in a very, very vibrant community. And here's the thing, Singapore per capita GDP is like $65,000, higher than this country. So we're not talking about a place where there's no ability to spend the cash. They spend it, and they spend it well.
Yeah. And isn't there some kind of like trade agreement among those countries as well?
So they're all part of what's called the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN. But all those countries, I should say most of those countries, are also part of APEC, with the U.S.-led Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation. And they also just joined the Japan-led trade bloc. So there's a lot of free trade agreements between the various countries that really bring in a lot of investment dollars. And we're looking very excited for Southeast Asia and to be based in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, very exciting. Congratulations, Dennis, on all your success. It's been fun to meet these companies, mostly on Zoom, but it's been great. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Yep.
Out of control inflation, escalating government debt, gas and energy bills burning through your savings, and a spiraling war in Europe. The world feels like a very uncertain place right now, and it's harder and harder to take control of your money and safeguard your savings. I mean, why would anyone want to keep their money in a bank that's only going to lend it out for its own profit? Putting your savings at risk, and for what? A pittance in interest? Well, let me tell you about Glint and how they can help you to save in real gold you can spend like dollars. Now, first off, Glint's not a bank or crypto or some new type of credit card. What Glint provides is the ability and freedom to buy, save, and spend real allocated gold that's secured in Brink's vaults and insured by Lloyd's of London. Glint's Smart app and MasterCard is leading the payments revolution, putting you in control of your money by making real gold, trusted for thousands of years, into an instant, secure digital currency for the modern world. Best of all, your gold is always your gold. It's no one else's liability. It's secure and allocated to you. It never goes away, even in a crash. To learn more, go to glintpay.com or download Glint from your favorite app store. It's time to take control of your money and protect it with the time-tested security of gold and the modern digital convenience of Glint. Gold is security. Glint, it's key.
Mikra has a product called Self that works on the cellular level for energy and overall wellness. And with me is the CEO of Mikra, Faraaz Jamal, to explain more about this product. And we were talking about brain fog, and we hear a lot about it now because of long COVID, but it's not just long COVID. I had brain fog long before COVID happened. But what are you finding with your product and brain fog?
Yeah, so long COVID actually really brought brain fog to the surface. But brain fog and chronic fatigue has been around for a very long time. And one of the major things that we created Self around was the actual ability to combat that. So we're actually one of the only supplements out there right now that are actually engaging in a clinical trial for chronic fatigue syndrome. And we're seeing so many great results from our customers and everyone else trying to combat these things. And it's really interesting. Like the way that brain fog is diagnosed is very, very anecdotal, quite honestly. There isn't a really good set regiment of tools that doctors can use. But if you're essentially like waking up super tired from the night before, and you got your 8 hours of sleep, or even if you're mid-afternoon, you're like, I don't feel very good, I'm gonna have to slam back a couple of cups of coffee or something like that. This is where Self actually really cuts through and where people see the most benefit from the product. And generally speaking, once you've hit that like 30-ish mark, you start to feel more and more tired over time. And that's what we're trying to solve.
Yeah. And let's remind everybody how it works.
Yeah.
So this is like a peanut butter, right? Okay, so describe how we take it and then what it does to our body.
Yeah, peanut butter is actually a really good way of describing that. We call it a nutraceutical gel. And the sweet spot here is that we take bioactive compounds, so naturally occurring compounds that you could find in very low quantities in like broccoli and spinach and elsewhere within nature. And then we concentrate them. And then we essentially pair them with our technology, which is a direct-to-cellular technology. So that ensures that your cells actually absorb and utilize the compounds. And then furthermore, we make sure that the product isn't oxidized in any way, shape, or form. So it's not sitting in the lab or anything of the sort. We actually batch our products. So they're actually pretty small batches to ensure that they're potent, they're effective, and they're going to work.
What's the future? So you've got a clinical trial. What are you studying in the trial? And then just about expansion, where do you go?
So chronic fatigue syndrome is our major focus right now. And then we're looking at other clinical indications like anxiety as well as a couple of sleep studies. So we're really excited about those. And then in parallel, we actually have a new product coming out soon, just targeting cellular athletic therapeutics. So we're really excited about being able to enhance somebody's quality of workout and then also diminish the amount of time it takes for them to recover from it. Yeah, so if you've ever like gone for like a 5K or like a really, really strenuous, any sort of exercise in the morning, and then you get to work and you're like, I feel a little bit tired and like my mind's not quite there. This new product's going to solve that issue.
Oh, wow. I know a ton of people that would be interested in that, actually. We'll talk later. Thank you so much for coming back in and giving us an update.
No, I really appreciate it, Jane. Thank you.
Sekur, the true solution for your digital privacy and security. Sekur is a private and secure messaging and email solution hosted in Switzerland, using proprietary military-grade encryption and Swiss privacy laws, giving you true privacy. Sekur doesn't collect or sell your data and doesn't require your phone number or any personal data that hackers target. You can message and email non-secure users privately without the need for others to download Sekur. Visit Sekur.com. Regain and protect your privacy today.
SKUR is a messaging service, email as well, that lets you communicate with people in a secure way. And with me is the CEO, Alain, Ghiai, to tell us about a new launch, a SKUR Messenger that you've just launched for enterprise. So
yes.
Explain to me what that is.
Well, we've had SKUR Messenger for consumers and businesses now. With enterprise, and we launched actually not too long ago SKUR chat by invite to 61 countries, which means you can text someone in 61 different countries, so from Europe, India, Asia, Latin America, and then invite them to chat with you. And this is typically used a lot with businesses where you may have a lawyer, an investment banker, a doctor, or a government agent trying to reach someone and have a chat without having to use the free big tech tools that are out there that are compromised, as we know. So now what we did is, at the request of some investment bankers, we decided to create an archiving solution. So this new feature takes our product to the next level of enterprise. And also, just to comply with FINRA and other regulation, if you're an investment bank and you want to have your investment bankers and traders use SKUR Messenger, because we have the self-destruct timer, that doesn't comply because they need to archive those conversations for 7 to 10 years. And I don't know if you've read lately, US banks are being fined $1 billion because their employees are using WhatsApp and things like that. It's all over the press. And now that we'll have that, for next year, we're going to target heavily the bigger companies because they have a lot more to lose too. They spend a fortune on IT. This is an extremely competitive offer. So we strongly believe when it comes to our messenger that we have a very unique proposal and offering. We've been told that this, if we can achieve ABC, that'd be fantastic. And we are achieving that with those features. So mass onboarding and also archiving of your messengers.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. Great for the update, Alain, and I look forward to seeing you in person here in New York in October.
Me too. Thank you so much. Thanks, Jane.
SEKUR, the true solution for your digital privacy and security. SEKUR is a private and secure messaging and email solution hosted in Switzerland, using proprietary military-grade encryption and Swiss privacy laws, giving you true privacy. SEKUR doesn't collect or sell your data and doesn't require your phone number or any personal data that hackers target. You can message and email non-secure users privately without the need for others to download SEKUR. Visit SEKUR.com. Regain and protect your privacy today.
Acurx Pharmaceuticals is a publicly held clinical stage biopharmaceutical company that's working specifically on a class of antibiotics for bacterial infections. And with me is CEO David Luci to give me an update, again, give us an update on the company and where you're at. So let's start overall with the company and then we'll dig deeper into exactly everything you're doing.
Sure. So the company has a new class of antibiotics called polymerase 3C inhibitors. And they inhibit the polymerase 3C enzyme, which is the primary catalyst or kind of construction worker that makes DNA for bacterial cells, specifically gram-positive bacterial cells. So like what? C. difficile infection, which is the target of our lead antibiotic, but also MRSA, which is still 52% of all of the hospital-based infections in the U.S. today. So we have 2 antibiotics currently in the class, the lead of which, ibezapolstat, is in a phase 2B clinical trial right now, treating patients with C. difficile infection.
Yeah, and I was telling you how after we did our last interview, I was telling my husband about the interview, and his uncle had C. diff. And I remember his uncle being sick. It was probably 10, 15 years ago.
Yes.
So, it's really very common. And this is, people will get this infection in the hospital or nursing home, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And how common is it, would you say?
There's about 29, estimates are about 29,000 people die every year from C. diff in the U.S., and 500,000 to 600,000 people get C. diff. It's definitely life-threatening, and because of that, there's something called the GAIN Act, and the FDA gives us Qualified Infectious Disease Product designation and fast-track status. So we have an unbelievable relationship, in my view, with the FDA. With those designations, you really kind of get doted upon by the FDA, and the agency allows you to interact with them, as often as you want.
So let's talk about MRSA too. Explain your treatment for that. Where is that?
So that's at the lead optimization phase of preclinical development. It's a challenging area right now, but we expect to be done with lead optimization by the end of the year. And basically, there's some preclinical toxicity work and manufacturing work for 23. By the end of 23, we would hope to file an IND.
Okay. And you went public, in the past year or so, right?
Yep. By the way, an IND is a license to conduct clinical trials in human subjects.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah, we went public in June. We went public in June 2021.
Okay.
Going out to the NASDAQ, of course, like we've done a couple of times in the past.
Yeah.
I know the whole team.
Yeah.
And in July of 22, just a couple of months ago, we did a registered direct offering.
Okay.
We brought in an old friend that I worked with 20 years ago in my first pharma company.
And I know the clinical trials are key, but what else is part of your kind of short-term goals?
So in addition to the clinical trial and the preclinical work on the second antibiotic candidate, we're working on a number of non-dilutive grants, as well as territorial licensing deals, for each drug. Some companies like one, some companies like the other. Really, I think it depends on internal factors at different potential buyers, or licensors. So if they have a hospital-based sales force, they're going to be interested in the second drug, ACX 375. If they already have microbiome programs, they're going to love ibezapolstat, the lead drug, because while we're curing the C. diff, by the end of day 3 of treatment, so far, all of the patients are also fully restored with a healthy microbiome.
Okay. Well, good luck in your trials. I look forward to
Thank you so much.
Seeing how the second phase goes, and then we'll do an updated interview then. Thanks, David.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.